this meeting to order. Everyone is present except for Robert, and he's sick tonight. The flag is over there. If y'all stand here.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you for this lovely new space with the passing of the referendum for us to have our meetings in this location. The mission statement: Viroqua area schools will nurture excellence, unlock potential, and ignite passion. Student board report. We have Olivia. It's over there. I don't know if you want to introduce the crowd or if they are going to do their own.
Feel like you introduced them.
Well, it's all up to you. I was just gonna say we have Andrew and Trey and Hudson, Vinny, Georgia, Bree, and Keegan. But I don't know if you want
That's
to
okay.
give us a little.
Welcome again. My name is Olivia Lilith. I'm the new agriculture teacher and FFA advisor. Tonight brought most of my officer team here today to give a little update on what FFA has been doing and some things that we have kind of coming up. Spring is definitely our busy time of year. So they're gonna share some exciting news and some highlights they're doing.
Awesome. So can we see them back here? Is this a good spot for them for video?
You can
Yep.
move him out of there.
Right there.
Oh, great. Awesome. I'm gonna move. There you go.
My name is Andrew Solverson, and I am this year's president, and this year is most of our 2024-25 officer team. We got Georgia here, who's our historian. Bree is our parliamentarian. Secretary, sorry, last year. Hudson is this year's reporter. Vinny, treasurer. Keegan, parliamentarian, and Trayton's vice president. And then Smithson is our sentinel, my brother, Alex Solverson. But then that's all of us. So then. Yeah, so we just like to come out here and show you what we've been doing, kind of what we've done, what's coming ahead, and like Ms. Lulich said, is we've got a lot to come. So I'll leave it free.
So 3 weeks ago in Hillsborough were our district LDE events. And LDEs are leadership development events. They're basically just a bunch of speaking contests. These events are designed to help members focus on leadership, poise, confidence, and life skills. And this year we had a really great group compete. So we had Georgia Gady competing in employment skills. Garrison Klingner competed in discussion league. Allie Hushka and Maddie Keenan competed in creed speaking. I competed in prepared public speaking and will be advancing to sectionals. And our Proudly Pro team, consisting of Andrew, Alex, Keegan, Hudson, Vinny, and Trayton, also will be advancing to sectionals. And middle school quiz bowl team of Hallie Nundahl, Tessa Bolden, Sophie Anderson, Ruby Klingner, and Ruby Gady will also be advancing to sectionals. And those are March 3rd and Nellis Manor.
So this week is National FFA Week, but us Viroqua, we celebrate that the week of March 10th to the 14th. Throughout FFA week, we will have dress-up days, activities, and our annual FFA Carnival on that Friday. And for 2025 is our Food for America Day. Food for America is a program designed to promote agriculture to elementary school students about where their food comes from. We look forward to having agricultural stations, tractors, animals, and more fun for our elementary school students. We invite you all to come and see and be a part of this excitement in the morning of the 13th. You can look at our Facebook page for more details about that.
We've done lots of activities throughout this year. We have gone to the FFA, the state FFA convention. We took a senior trip with all the seniors to Chicago. Our spring business and industry trip. We went to the World Dairy Expo and many other FFA events. These past few months for our FFA members have been able to attend a FIRE conference, which is a conference designed for middle school and freshman members to get excited about the opportunities in FFA. Halftime conference to get excited about the second half of the year. Farm Forum, a conference designed to learn about the Wisconsin Farm Bureau and opportunities within FFA. Many other conferences coming up include the Edge Conference for middle school members and the Connect Conference for 9th and 10th grade members. These experiences are designed to educate our members in opportunities in FFA, meet members from across the state, and learn important leadership skills.
As Hudson stated, we pride ourselves on building leadership skills within our members, not only through conferences and conventions, but also at the local level. For our officer team, this training was through our yearly officer retreat we take each summer. This summer, we spent 3 days working on leadership skills, teamwork, planning for upcoming school year, and setting goals for ourselves, our chapter, and our members. For our members, we strive to get them leadership experiences. Through our committee work, our members are able to take their leadership roles, plan events, work hands-on with FFA members of all grade levels, and get the experience to execute events. Committees are based on their interest of community service, member engagement, Food for America, and many other committees to help build a sense of community with our chapter. Thanks to the work of our committee members, we are able to have events like card nights with alumni, a filled vending machine, Food for America Day, and many other great events.
Agriculture education as a whole is built on the idea of the three-circle model. The three circles include FFA, the SAE, or the Supervised Agricultural Experience, and classroom instruction. We have 4 outstanding members that have worked hard on building their SAE circle and applied in their respective area for a state proficiency award. These are extensive 20 to 30 page applications that explain their SAE, our hours worked, our skills gained, and many, many other details. We await the results in March. Congratulations to Andrew and Alex Solverson, who applied in the area of diverse crop production, myself, Keegan Boardman, who applied in the area of ag sales, and Trayton Schmidt, who applied in the area of beef production. The top 4 in each category will be awarded at the state FFA convention in June. Winner of each category then advances to nationals, which will take place at the National FFA convention in October.
All right, another big component of our chapter is community service, because without our community, can't do anything without any of you guys. Our big project to support our community and our local farmers is Harvest Meals, a project that started last year, where we ask people to sponsor us and gather a whole bunch of resources like brats and hot dogs to give free meals to farmers during harvest season. Busiest time of year for them, just make their life a little easier, having to worry about one less meal to make. And it's a great way to support them because they feed all of us. And we also look for other great ways to stay involved in our community, like we donated all our excess fruit from our fruit sale to the Living Faith Food Pantry. And this spring, we look for more opportunities to support our community, like possibly playing bingo at the nursing home, planting flowers, and cleaning public areas around town, thanks to the assistance of the city of Viroqua.
Last thing I'd like to talk about for what we do is CDEs. This stands for Career Development Events, and this is a way that us as FFA members can compete in competitions that are based within the industry. So you can choose your category between whatever you really want, and you can compete with a bunch of chapters around the area. So this year, the regional competition is March 20th at UW-Platteville campus. And we have an agronomy team, dairy judging team, livestock judging, food science, and floriculture team that will be competing there. And I believe it's top 5 in most categories will move on to state, which will be in April. So hoping to be pretty good there and bring that home. We've had some pretty good success years prior. That's pretty much our spiel on what we do in the year, and it's not a little bit, but
Does anyone have any questions?
What's your favorite event throughout the year?
oh, that's a big, it's pretty good.
Drives tractors here. That's always fun to see.
Where's the national conference?
Nationals is always in Indianapolis, Indiana. And then state's Madison.
So I would like to thank Lydia for her leadership with this group, and we'll give you all a round. Y'all did a great job. Thank you for coming. We can stay there.
You can stay
You looked much nicer.
You guys can head out. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That's my favorite part of our meetings, having our students highlighted. The next item is item 6, and that's committee reports. We have curriculum and policy.
We met January 14th and we reviewed high school course proposals and dates for 25-26.
And there were some new courses. That were presented to us, and they sounded amazing.
Creative writing, intro to creator.
Right. It was exciting to see that opportunity for the 2025-26 school year. Bless you. Policy.
Policy, we met this evening, prior to the board meeting, and I believe Tom was gonna speak to.
Yeah.
We discussed this evening.
Yep, so again, what's on the agenda is essentially going back to July, when we introduced the 2024 Title IX regulations. We had 2 policies which we were operating within. One was the 2020 regulations for anything if the event that is being reported had occurred prior to August 1st, 2024. And then everything after that were the 2024 regulations. And as we discussed in the committee, the 2024 Title IX regulations were struck down nationwide on January 9th. And so within that piece, essentially nothing changes from our 2020 policy except the title, which stated we would follow this one in the event that the event occurred prior to August 1st. Everything else within that policy will stay the same. And again, we are unique in Wisconsin because we do have clarity, whereas some parts of the country do not right now. And that's because of 2 circuit court cases. And again, that's Whitaker versus Kenosha and AC versus Martinsville that prohibit discrimination on the basis of gender identity or on sexual orientation. So again, we have clarity within that piece. So again, the changes are very much procedural in the when we get a complaint coming in, how we handle that piece, which again, 2024 afforded us some flexibilities that 2020 doesn't. But that's the reality of the situation that we have as far as what our COs or our complaint officers would do after the complaint is received. So we will follow what again, 2020 is not a policy that we ever got rid of. It's just a piece where we are now having to go back into and change that date. Questions on that?
I think it's safe to say when they make changes, then we have to accommodate what those changes are. And then we go through our legal process. We have Neola, which is a company that we use that are lawyers that just work on policy in the state of Wisconsin. And so it all goes through them. And we get what the policy is legally supposed to be, and we follow. And this is something that's mandated by the state, so we have no ability whatsoever to
Not by the state.
by the federal
Yep.
government
Mhm.
and the laws of the state of Wisconsin.
Yep. Mhm.
We have no ability to change any of it. It is just a law. Questions? Okay, with that, welcome visitors. Nice to have you all here. Is there any public comment?
It was not.
I didn't know.
We didn't know what the process was.
Can we quickly sign up then?
So,
Yes.
That's up to you. Yep.
Yes. Yeah, there's a sign-up sheet. for
There,
anyone that
let
wants
me
to
just,
speak
I just
publicly.
took it back.
Find a different space.
Yep. First meeting here.
No, she just moved
I just picked it up.
She picked it up because there was nothing from it.
Yeah.
I don't know if all of you are speaking the exact same words or not. So if
No
not,
idea what they're
okay,
saying.
okay. Sometimes people do that. The exact same thing. And it does have to be on the agenda.
Oh, I'm so sorry, I don't.
So. Thank you, thank you. So it's 5 minutes for everyone to speak. And we will have Kim, do you want to chime in, or Beth, do you want to chime in, or
I can't,
Kim time?
I would be like to do.
Thank you. Sorry about any confusion there. So we have Tanya. Why not? How about?
Yeah, just come in that opening, yeah, and then
So
this is the
everybody
mic
can
right
speak
here.
Because it's recorded. There you go. Perfect. Thank you. You don't see yourself. Go ahead, Tanya.
Thank you. My name is Tanya Viroqua. I wanted to take a minute to thank all of you who are on the board and our faculty members of this school. You do an amazing job on very little. I've always been very proud of our school system here. My daughter's a graduate of Laurel. And so I know many of you have been on this board for a long time. So thank you. I wanted to just address the conversation that was had in the committee today. Just a couple points. First of all, I understand that this is a procedural thing. And thank you for clarifying that. It doesn't feel procedural to many of our students and faculty and community members. So I wanted to just bring that up because and I read through the policies as best that I could understand them. And we're rescinding one that does not, that has some language in it that's very much more explicit than the one that we're keeping. Just as the Title IX 2024 rules are more explicit than the 2021s are. And I understand that we feel that we're more protected here because of the court decisions made. You addressed the Seventh Circuit Court decisions. But the reality of the country we live in right now is that we have an administration who has signaled the intent to not pay attention to the courts, that they believe that they're above the law and the court system. And they have signaled the intent to discriminate against particular groups of people in this country. And right now, the people closest to my heart are those in the transgender you know, I'm gonna not use the correct terminology and I apologize, but I just want to make sure that we understand that. And as we move forward through these very tricky and complicated and scary, and every day something different coming down from the top, just know that our students are here going, well, that guy up there is saying these things and I have to live my life down here and I just want to feel safe. I just want to feel safe. So understanding is that Title IX protections are a floor, not a ceiling, and that we are allowed to create the most robust policies that we want internally. And so we may already have that, and I apologize if we have the best policies in the country. I hope we do. I just don't know. I've never read our policy manual. But I would just invite everyone to ensure that we have the most robust policies that are inclusive and protective, that are committed to educating our staff to and giving them the best resources that they can have to do the work of educating our students in a safe environment. And, yeah, I think that's all I want to say. And again, thank you so much for your work.
Thank you. Next we have Jennifer.
I feel like you should have a tape on the floor.
It's not a bad idea.
I'm Jennifer Morales. I am a former school board member back in Milwaukee in ancient times, so I give all credit to school board members. It is a very hard job dealing with kids, jobs, local economy drivers, all the things that you do. So I'll echo Tanya's thanks for that. But I am grateful that we were protected by the 7th District's ruling, that we have the clarity that many other states outside of our district don't have. But the reality is that, as Tanya said, the children are getting the message that they don't deserve to exist or they no longer exist. And I help run a listserv of over 125 people in the region, Driftless LGBTQ and allies. And people are scared. That's what we're hearing across that message board, that people are scared for their children, they're scared for their futures. And, as the holders of the community's children that you are, it's really important that you know that there are trans, non-binary, intersex, questioning children in this district. And if you need to learn about their experiences, I am very glad to help you reach people who can tell you firsthand what their experience is as a family, what their experience is as a student, because we need to stay informed about the real experiences about people in our community, and we need to make sure that the schools are as welcoming as possible. Tanya said it really well. Let's be, reach for the ceiling, not just stay at the floor, and be a really welcoming community for all kids in all their forms. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Sonia?
I echo their sentiments. Thank you so much for all your volunteer time. It's a lot. I came here to understand more what, because I just learned about it yesterday, it was on the agenda today. So I really appreciate you explaining so much about Wisconsin's unique situation. So I feel like you got a great turnout here, and it's only good that you have people coming and learning what's happening and can share the information. I see this as an opportunity because what I'm a little nervous about, or not nervous about this, that's wrong. I'm a glass half full woman, is I'd like us to take the opportunity to not only have disciplinary actions to how kids, if they're harassed, but to have prevention, and let's be positive and figure out how we can't figure out, that's too hard. But at least how can we educate and engage people to prevent harassment, to prevent bullying and emotional abuse, not only for transgender issues that were on the table today, or being a girl or a woman. But I think you all know my kids are Black, and there definitely is discrimination in this school that I think you might not be aware of how much is present. And then also, what if you're overweight, or what if you have one limb? There's so many things that I can't speak to because I'm not a mom of a girl with, one limb. But I think we should take this opportunity to plan and be proactive and invite the parents or the kids of difference to share what their experiences are in a safe way, so that then we can learn how to train teachers. Just one little example or two examples, if you have Black children, and also if you have children with dry skin, what we're taught here is the curriculum that you're taught to take a shower every day. And my kids should not take a shower every day. That would be very bad for their skin. But yet they're told in class, you have to take a shower. You have to wash your hair every day. So they don't speak up because they don't want to seem different, right? Maybe there's a kid that has psoriasis or something that also can't shower. Another thing is my daughter and son can't go swimming on those swim days after they've spent $200 on their hair. You can laugh with me. But that it literally ruins their hair. It's not just that they don't want to look good, but it actually ruins their hair to go in the pool. So then Lena has to tell me, oh, I can't go. And oh, the teacher will understand. Oh, I'm not going to tell the teacher. You know, because imagine that teacher might not actually understand. They might think it's frivolous that I'm spending $200 in their hair. But that $200 saves me hours of work. So that $200 is really, important to me that her hair looks nice. So that's just two little examples. It's not about active bullying, but about where our kids feel different. So I think we can just take this opportunity, and I thank everybody for coming here today and just being part of what you guys do. But thanks a lot.
Rufus.
Hello. I'm Rufus Jupiter, and I'm coming here tonight as the parent of a student who's been enrolled in the district for the past 10 years. She loves it here, so thank you very much for all of the work that you do at the school. Tom was speaking earlier about the uncertainty of the next couple of years, and I just wanted to make sure that I voiced my expectation as a parent for the district to maintain integrity and just hold that commitment to advocate for and to protect the most marginalized and vulnerable students as it would for the students of the majority. I think is extra important in this time, as Jennifer was saying, because of all of the public discussion and politicization of children's bodies that should not be politicized. It is also my expectation that our district is not in danger of pre-complying with executive orders that are not yet law. I'm glad that I learned today more about like what the Title IX stuff is and that. So within the district's vision statement of empowering every student to discover their possibilities and thrive, I expect that extra care will be taken within this turbulent time to make sure that no student, however outside of the norms they fall, is invalidated, unseamed, or harmed by default, which includes what people are talking about with more staff education and just more care given in general because of those marginalized students being extra vulnerable in this time. That's all I got. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you all for coming and speaking. We can't speak back or we really appreciate you all coming. So the next topic is the consent agenda, and that is approval of the agenda, approve of public notice, January summary one in the amount of $950,609.17. We have no retirements or resignations. We have no appointments. The athletic code handbook updates and policy updates, rescind 2264, non-discrimination on the basis of sex and education programs or activities, revise 2266, non-discrimination on the basis of sex and education programs or activities.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Marina, you good? Okay.
I'm good.
All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Voucher summary 2 is the next item on the agenda.
I move to approve the vouchers for 2 in the amount of $284,866.94.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I abstain. Information and discussion. We have the district administrator referendum information, WASB convention updates, and legislative meeting at Westby.
So we did move my report up because Chris and I do have to bounce out to 2 township meetings this evening. So only 2 more meetings to go today. So just wanted to give some updates here. So back on the table over there, you will see something that we've created for the referendum that is a very quick, we're calling it a pocket guide. It's a little bit, it's not a flyer or anything like that, but it is a piece that has the very basic information. And on the back, it's got a QR code that links right to the referendum website. And so again, we're getting good feedback on and really good interaction with the postings that we've been making on social media. Everybody should have received a mailer this last week. And again, it's been a much more lively conversation than what it was in the fall. And again, I do think that we're getting information in the hands of all of our community so that they can make an informed decision here in April. And so Chris and I started I don't know what to call it, our tour of speaking with local municipalities and with different organizations. Just started on Thursday. So that's really when we kind of kicked it off. And so again, we got 2 more tonight. Got a couple more this week on Thursday night, I believe. And then we will continue that in the coming weeks. So one thing we definitely learned from the November timeframe was that we needed to get information in the hands of our community sooner, especially with how prevalent early voting was, because we did miss a big section of our community because I mean that was over 30% of our voting population. And so using the former timelines of operational referendums in the past just was not going to fit anymore. Yeah, and again, making sure that our message is clear on why we need this funding in order to survive and to continue. Yeah, and so yeah, we're going to continue that. Please check the website, grab extras of those, hand them out to anybody that you can. It is not a vote yes for the referendum. It is a very factual piece of here's what we're asking for and why. Here's the impact. And again, when we look at this piece, it's a mill rate impact of $11 on a $100,000 home over the course of. We know that there are no $100,000 homes anymore in Viroqua, so we're not going to use that as a metric. But we're using 250,000, which was one of the averages that we found from last year. And you know, that impact is going to be about $29 for the year. And that's not per month. I think some people get confused by that. We're not saying $30 a month. It equates to $2.29. So I heard a little bird back there. We do have a community referendum meeting coming up in this room on February 27th at 5:30. And so please promote that. We will be during the high school and middle school parent teacher conferences. And that was by design to get as many people in the building as possible. And so we have a lot of great information and we want to make sure that we get it out there. And so Chris and I will walk through a brief presentation and then have some time for Q&A after that. And we have another one set up March 10th at 6:30, same presentation. So there isn't going to be overlap with the presentation, but there will be obviously new voices in the room and new questions that will be asked. So that FAQ document online is being updated daily at this point. So anytime somebody really has a question about anything, that's being, you know, put up there with the answer. And again, trying to get as many of those questions answered as we can. Any questions about referendum?
Thank you.
Okay. Bouncing through to the WASB convention. So the State School Board Convention we had again in Milwaukee. I think, and Angie probably will attest to this a little bit in her report. I think it started off a little slow as far as relevant to our district. And this is going to sound a little weird, but every year we go down there, Matt and I have very similar conversations. And again, I think our board and our district are at a different place than a lot of boards and a lot of districts. And so with that being said, there are some things that they're presenting on that they're calling cutting edge that we've been doing for a few years. There's some other things that are, hey, you should really think about doing board workshops. And again, we've been on that train for a little while, focusing on, really making sure that the board is focused on what it should be focused on and having conversations about what it should be having conversations on, those kind of things. And so again, that piece was a little bit interesting. The most interesting session that I went into that we brought back and are actually going to be doing a book study around for the admin team is something called the EOS, which is the Entrepreneurial Operating System, which has been, if you've ever heard of the book Traction, anything like that. Essentially, it's for small business owners is how it started, and then adapting it to schools and creating more key performance indicators or KPIs, and making sure that we're being really transparent about how we as a district are working to achieve what we want to achieve, which becomes a very, very outward and transparent process, which we absolutely want. And so I think it's going to add clarity to our staff. It's going to add clarity to you guys as the board, and it's going to add clarity to our community of what work are we doing to achieve those goals. And not just, hey, we talk about it at the data workshop, we set goals for the district, and then we wait for a year to talk about it again. And so again, working through that process. So again, we will be, I think we have the books in now, but we'll be working through that book together, and making sure that we're on the same page with what we expect from each other before we ever have a conversation with anybody else, with changing some of that and adding more clarity.
Do you know if there was a different author for the one that was for entrepreneurs than there is for the audience?
There is not a book for schools right now.
Oh,
So this is being adapted by CISA 6. And the districts around Oshkosh, Kaukauna, Valley districts jumping into that work and really kind of laying that foundation for what this could look like. It's being adapted, and it's going to be adapted for each district because of the different context and everything like that. So it's not a perfect system, but we've been, kind of looking for something like this to make our process very visible. And that's what this does, which I think is really, again, that piece of adding clarity.
That'll be good for KPIs just for.
Yep. Which again, we've started, we just haven't found a system that kind of brings it all together. So that was the one where I was able to talk to the 4 presenters afterwards. We were able to kind of talk through where our district was, and they're really, really excited to help us in any way. And then any questions on that? Okay. Legislative meeting at Westby. So this was a meeting organized by Steve Michaels and Jerry, their board president. And it was very well attended. The 2 lawmakers that were in attendance were Terry Johnson, Representative, and Senator Brad Pfaff. It was a very open and candid conversation, and one where, we voiced a couple of things, and I really want to send home the message that I always send home when we were meeting with not only legislators, but from both sides of the aisle, is that in order to create partnership and actually find solutions, we can't start conversations with "you've wronged us, you now give us money." And so it is a piece where we really want to hit home the piece of look at what we're able to provide while being underfunded. Can you imagine if we were appropriately funded, the type of experience we'd be able to provide for our students? And that has gained a lot more traction than anything else with both sides of the aisle. And it has opened doors for us as a district and as a board to be able to have more real and candid conversations with elected officials when we start out like that. And so again, we historically as districts have not done a great job at highlighting and telling our story. We've got a heck of a good story to tell. And so we need to get better at this, and we're going to continue to get better at this. But the biggest thing is We want everyone, our community and our elected officials to know we're worth your investment.
And one of the biggest things that came out of that was if they would fund students with special needs at an appropriate level, that would make a tremendous difference, even if they stepped it, more than 1 or 2% a year, even if they did 10% and then 15%. Because what are we at, 32?
Dip down again, so, because it's again, they're putting a set dollar amount and then we know exactly because costs are reimbursed. And so it's a set dollar amount and then they translate it to a percentage.
So if they could fund the piece at a higher level, that would really overall affect all of their funding, because we would have more funding that we could then fund all of our students more of an equal level.
And if people are interested in kind of a pretty lengthy overview, the Vernon Reporter does have a pretty lengthy overview of the meeting, which kind of goes into everything for every district. And every district in the county was there except DeSoto, because they had a meeting.
DeSoto had a meeting, so they weren't available. I think everyone else was.
Everyone else was there.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
We're done.
You have to go?
Yep, we're gonna bump them, if that's okay.
And tell them they can contact any of our board members when you're there. If they have a question.
Will do.
Donations over $100. We have HSR. They donated $600 for the Taliesin field trip, which looks really fun. Very excited about that. Myron Hornby, $500 for the Wall of Excellence Scholarship, and Scott and Melinda Benzine, $100 for the high school boys basketball. We're going to have a new scholarship from the Driftless Referral Partners, and that is in the amount of $1,000. Administrative reports. You have mid-year AGR and PBIS.
Try to stand behind the pole.
You get to come all the way over here now. Isn't that fabulous?
I can hide behind that pole.
Perfect,
right.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So AGR, you get to hear from me twice a year. This is the mid-year. The overview is AGR stands for the Achievement Gap Reduction. We have to do this for all our kindergarten through 3rd grade classrooms at the elementary school. Does not include VAMs, and we have to use one of 3 strategies or a combination, which are one-to-one tutoring, instructional coaching for teachers, or maintaining an 18 student to 1 teacher ratio. We put down in our proposal each year that we have to fill out for the state that we use a combination of all 3. We don't too often use one-to-one tutoring or intervention, but it does happen occasionally. The coaching piece, we don't have an actual coach, but staff as colleagues can coach each other. I can go in and coach, Krista can go in and coach. And the 18-to-1 is the biggest strategy that we always use. What else do we have here? Laptop, it's not working right. There we go. The requirements, again, you have to use one of those 3 or a combination of strategies. We report those to DPI at the beginning of the year. You get this update at the midpoint and at the end of the year. And set objectives to reduce the gap in achievement. And you have this in your report, the kindergarten through 3rd grade. Our objectives, and this goes right with Act 20. Dovetails nicely that we want the percentage of students scoring below the 25th percentile to reduce that at least by half from fall to spring. And those students, because of Act 20, have a personal reading plan. And that's new, so it's a lot on staff it's all good stuff, but it's also one more, hey, this is new, it's a new assessment. The personal reading plans are new, but it's all good stuff to improve achievement. So I'm going from fall data to winter data. Kindergarten started the year with 60% at 25th, the lowest 25th percentile. And now 51% are there. 1st grade, 50%, and now 45%. Second grade, 36% and 37%, so really not much change. And third grade, same amount, just if we lost a few students, so the percentage goes up from 26% to 28%. So we know with reading, that's not where we want to be, but we also know that sometimes these changes take some time. This is our second year of implementing Orton Gillingham, so we felt like we were on pace with the rest of the state. A lot of schools are scrambling to implement that. This is our second year with that. And we're looking at ways. Today we had meetings with every grade level with Krista and I. Looking at a lot of different things, from everything from scheduling and how much time we should be focusing on each area of reading, to what our interventions look like, to what do these benchmarks look like now that we know them a little bit more. Okay, if this is the beginning of the year kindergarten benchmark, what do we need our 4K teachers to focus on? What's one or two things that they could help get students ready for first grade or kindergarten, and so on and so forth. Those we will talk about a little bit more Friday at our in-service, where we'll have some of that going on, like which standards and which benchmarks does each grade level own, and what do they need from the grade level below them and above them to make this to better. I mean, it's all good stuff. It's a lot right now, and it's one more new thing, but it's also.
So Pat, just for clarification, because VAMS does not do it, and that is because they're a charter school and they don't have to follow, but they do receive services still under the
Correct.
program.
Still receive intervention
As
services.
long as we have other people here listening,
Yeah.
I'd like to clarify.
That's good. And still, VAMS also follows Act 20. This is
Right.
the Act 20 report, but
Right, it
our
is,
goal, the elementary
right,
tie in with that, and VAMS.
It's
Kindergarten through
consistent.
still, it's consistent. That's statewide for any school, kindergarten through third. Just this year, I feel like our goals line up rather than these are Pat's AGR goals or our school goals. They tie in nicely with the personal reading plans and the Act 20 things we're doing. And, our goal is to improve reading achievement. So that's what we're going to be looking at even more on Friday at our in-service, and continuing to try to improve that. And then also in math, kindergarten uses FastBridge as our screener, and first through third grade use STAR as our screener, and those numbers look better, more on track for cutting that in half. Kindergarten was 33% in the fall, down to 18% now. First grade 34% down to 15%, second grade 26% to 17%, and third grade 17% to 13%. So some of those numbers, even third grade, well, the percentage didn't drop a lot. We went from 7 students to 5 students out of 40. So those are more in line. We'd love to have 0%. None of our kids in that lowest 25th percentile. But if we have students there, ideally it would be 5 to 10% of our students at most. So we're not there yet, but we're not alone in that venture to improve our achievement. I know that's a lot, but you also have that report in front of you. Any questions on that? You get to hear from me again at the end of the year on AGR, but PBIS, not a lot of changes at the elementary building. That includes the elementary school and VAMS. The biggest thing with PBIS is we want consistent expectations throughout the building. That we follow. We're safe, responsible, respectful, and kind. Because it just doesn't work if we have common areas that the whole building is using, hallways, bathrooms, playground, cafeteria, all those common areas. It doesn't work if your expectations don't match mine. So school-wide, we have matrix that explicitly there are expectations. The teachers do a great job of teaching those expectations, but also we know that we have to reteach and model and practice and reteach some more, because we're not all perfect and we're not going to get it the first time. We also, it's the positive piece of that is making sure to reinforce behavior that when they are following the expectations, either directly stating that, I like how you walked in the hallway today. Or we also have Black Hawk tickets that can be, every student has the opportunity each day to earn those. Doesn't mean they get one every day, but if you notice somebody walking in the hallway, any staff member could give them a ticket. Student then gets to vote between two choices for an end of the quarter celebration. First quarter was board games was the one that won, in their classroom. Second quarter, it seemed like a great idea. Hot cocoa and either sledding or building a snow fort. That hasn't worked out real well. I got some snow and now it's too cold. So they just did the hot cocoa Friday for Valentine's Day and also had our fancy lunch, which is a big hit. Third quarter, we haven't announced yet, but we're gonna try to get some new playground balls. Because a lot of ours are flat or old. It's time to replace those and have an extra recess that might win, even if it isn't one that's voted on. And the other one that's voted on would win too. So that's one of the positive reinforcements we use. But the biggest thing is having consistent expectations. And then our biggest, if students aren't following those, our biggest thing is to reteach those behaviors. Doesn't do a lot to punish someone who is running in the hallways, but rather having conferences with those students, showing them, letting them show us what is the expected behavior, and hopefully that sticks. That's what we got going on. Yeah, thanks.
I understand that you're spending a lot more time in the hallways these days
I'm
and doing a lot of your work in the hallway.
I'm trying to, yes, I'm trying to be
To
more
build
mobile.
those, to build those relationships with
being-
the kids and.
Being out where I can support staff and students. Lately, I've been not as much, but that's the goal, yes.
Well,
to
we
get out of
appreciate
office.
that because I know, working. It can be a little challenging
Yeah.
to get your regular daily
But yeah, I
work
do,
done.
I do feel that has been a good plus for this year, the relationships and being around to be support where I'm needed is a little easier that way.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
I was missed to not say thank you for those donations. I was so focused on Tom and Chris leaving. So all those people that donated, we are very fortunate to have a philanthropic community here for the new scholarship as well as those donations that were given. And the next is Kathy.
So mine is the child fine. With your board report, you'll see that it was February 2024, so the wrong one was attached. Sorry about that. Each of you send out letters with questionnaires on the ages and stages developmental questionnaires to all families whose children fall between September 2nd, 2020 and September 1st, 2021. They would be 4K eligible for the next year. We bring in all of those questionnaires. They are supposed to be due this Friday. Our early childhood team, which will include Children's House, this year we will sit down, score the questionnaires together and talk through those kids that we'll be seeing in 4K next year. We also have some that are coming in, and if the parents have questions for 3K or for 3-year-olds, and then we will reach out to those parents that have scored their children in the areas that we would like to see them or talk to them a little further, add more questions. So we can get ready for them in the next year. That's our child fund.
You have pretty good numbers.
They seem to be lessening, but we expect 40-ish, but we've so far gotten about 12 questionnaires back. So if anyone knows of parents that have children within those age ranges, reach out if they did not get a questionnaire in the mail, because it's based on the census that we have.
Sure.
And we always miss some. So definitely send those kids our way.
Thank you. Next, we have Krista.
Here to talk about summer school. Doesn't it feel like it's time to talk about summer school? You know?
Very time.
'Tis the season to think about summer school. And so here's my first update for you. We have our single session determined this year, June 10th through July 3rd. for elementary and middle school. High school will start one day sooner. We will have our session for elementary and middle back at the elementary building this year. And hope to have a much more streamlined event without construction challenges to work around this year. So looking forward to a pretty, crossing our fingers, a much more simpler process for summer school this year.
You're gonna have some window allocations going.
Yes, there's gonna be some new windows, but we're working with Cody to see if the timeline can be outside of the summer school window. And if not, we have a plan B for that too. So as far as coordination, it'll be similar to last year. I'll be doing kind of the beforehand coordination part, and then during the summer school session, Jocelyn Olson is gonna be kind of the person on the ground handling day to day with the principals as a secondary backup person. He'll be working side by side with me to see kind of the coordination end of it too. He is interested in just getting more leadership experiences, and this is one opportunity we have to include him in that process. As far as the process, so far, we have put out an information sheet to our staff and returning summer school staff from previous years, just with the facts and information, and have a digital application form for them to use this year. This year, we've gone all digital with application forms for staff and for students. It'll be a digital application form too, as well as some paper forms in our offices if people need that as a backup option. The format of summer school will be about the same, with our academic focus in the morning and enrichment options in the afternoon. High school will still be credit recovery, and also there will be some additional athletic offerings for middle and high school that Dan Brown and I are working together on. So those will be coming out alongside with the summer school packet. And now we just start putting the pieces together for staffing, put the booklet together for families to learn about the programs, and the enrollment for summer school families to start will be March 24th, and it'll run about two and a half weeks of that. So look for more information coming in the email about that, and looking forward to another great year of summer school.
Very fun. Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Jason? We're gonna have to figure out something here. This
right there would be a good spot.
Well, that's,
You can't be.
they can't be seen because it's recorded. We're gonna have to work out some.
Talking, we're gonna make Pat bring his portable podium over here. So, especially for those that had the laptops up here. They had some-
Yeah, that's
some
awkward.
laptops on. So, on behalf of Dan Brown, I'm reporting on co-curricular events tonight. We are most of the way through the athletic season. A lot of them were already in the playoff time. I think the gymnastics program has conference tournament this weekend. Both hockey programs have playoff games Thursday night, both away. So shout out to Randy, because we had a normal schedule, and then we got 2 away hockey games scheduled the same exact night. But Randy was able to make it work to make all those things happen. The girls basketball just got their seeding yesterday. For the 4th year in a row, we will be playing Sarah Stanley Boyd in the first round. The 3rd time in 4 years, we will be traveling with Stanley Boyd, which is quite a distance to go. So for the right to play, the privilege to play the #1 seed, because it's the 8-9 game. Boys basketball, so we have girls basketball wrapping up a couple of games this week, finish off the regular season. With the weather at the end of last week, we had to do a little bit of shuffling around. Usually you try to keep your conference games as much as possible. So we had to do a little bit of shuffling, and at the same time not have the kids play like 4 straight game nights, because practice is still important too. And sometimes, we can be happy on a Wednesday when, if we have an early out or activities canceled on Wednesday, because at least we don't have to reschedule games. Kathy smiles as a former AD. But at the same time, the kids do lose practice time. So try to be cognizant of that. So The boys program had a big win last week against Westby. It's always great to beat Westby. Up at Westby even, it was, they have a few games to wrap up. And then they'll find out their seeding this upcoming weekend, for the playoffs. So, participation level, I know Angie, a lot of times will ask about this. Looking at overall numbers, we are almost identical the last 3 years. We're just under 100 students participating in their activities. A lot of our traditional sports are a little bit down. Boys hockey was the one for that period that went up a little bit. And then the weightlifting club sport actually has seen the most growth at that time from starting. If you think about 2 years ago, it was literally just starting. So we've seen a lot of growth with that. So, but as far as how many kids are actively involved with a athletic activity, staying pretty equal, which is not the case in a lot of districts. So obviously we'd always love to see it grow a little bit more, but we're at least maintaining at this point a lot of kids that we have participated in. So once we get into the spring season, we'll let you know where the spring numbers are with that too. So that's
Board report, Laurel High School, did Laurel meet?
Next week, so it's an update.
And Kim, that was canceled?
Yeah, BAMS is meeting next week, but I'm gonna take this opportunity to quick say, we're gonna have Pete Swanson's, introduction into the Wall of Excellence on Sunday at 11 o'clock. If anyone's available, it'll be in the Commons, so people should feel free to come. We'll have a small program and then some snacks and things afterwards, so people can chat. And the other thing is our at girls basketball tomorrow night, they are going to have a 50-50 raffle for the Kickapoo superintendent, Kim Johnson, which other schools around the area have been doing. And we will have ours got snowed out or whatever. We'll have it tomorrow night.
Thank you. Next is the 25 WSB convention. Do you want to start, Matt?
Yeah, I can start. I can start. Tom mentioned a lot of what was going on. This is my 8th year, I think, at the convention. And I think it's good to go to realize how well we're doing in comparison to other schools. One of the sessions I went into was a board workshop on budgeting and making sure you had a clear budget. Their big takeaway was making sure you had a third-party audit done and that it would be good governance that you post that audit publicly, which we do. So it is, I'm surprised when I go and how many districts there are people taking copious notes of what they should be doing and taking back to their districts. So, so it was a good, I think it was a good meeting and a good session in terms of we're doing the right things. We do have our community conversations, we have our board workshops, and we're doing these really good things to help us in formation of our policy, of our board, of our goals and what we're doing. And I think getting the community involvement, making sure that people are aware of what we're doing as a board. And Sun Prairie School District actually does the same thing. They maybe have a little bigger budget than we do because they put nice packets and folders and everything like this together and they branded it. They're engaging, relevant, welcome to the Sun Prairie experience. I like that. I think we can wrap a bow around ours as well and what we're doing. I don't know if it has to be that in depth, but
It could be online.
Yeah,
It could be on
yeah.
social media. It
Exactly.
wouldn't have to be paper form.
Exactly. So, so I think there were a couple good things. And then Dr. Sanfilippo was the keynote speaker that ended the session. From a school district standpoint, he's a superintendent. He was a fill-in on the last day. And his amount of energy is over the top. And his passion for schools and districts is infectious. and amazing. And just really was a great motivational type speaker.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So a couple of things before I go to the, I wanted a couple of legislative items. So legislation is as amended and advanced to the assembly floor vote on Wednesday, policy prohibiting pupils from wireless communication devices during instruction time. So that's a bill that our state is working on. And then a bill to require installation of water filters and regular testing of water in all school districts in the state of Wisconsin.
But I did notice there's no money attached to that.
And there is no money attached.
But we're not getting any extra money to do it.
Yeah, I noticed that same thing.
Mandates are amazing.
Yeah, I love those mandates.
Yeah.
Not that it's bad to have good water.
No.
I mean, we all
but-
want good water. But anyway, I just wanted to update those two items. And dictating when we use cell phones. Sometimes cell phones are used academically in a class, and it's a way that we don't have to provide technology as a district, which can save us. I'm not saying that any of this is right or wrong, but when they mandate that you cannot do something, that is a red flag to me.
So
And
Angie, would we have
for
to change our
somebody-
current policy?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we would have
We
to
already
change.
have a policy that states when students can and can't use them and allows teachers to also allow it, which I think this is a waste of time. People are pushing their personal agendas.
They are,
I'm
and-
just telling you.
I know.
It's just moving forward. I
I just think there are other things,
I have
people
mine,
listening, other things
yeah.
to be focusing on.
I have mine a lot because my hearing aids are connected to here. And I'm also a diabetic, which I don't mind sharing, most people know. I could have and I have a separate thing for that, but it could be on my phone. Well, there would be a reason, and we do have students,
students that use.
more students that are diabetics than are hearing impaired probably by ratio, but that's a reason for them to have their technology. So when you make these rules that are all or none, it makes it more difficult.
just the messenger here.
I know you are,
So-
but I'm just
and
saying that because I'm
Right,
just
and then-
expressing my opinion.
Yes, absolutely, without question. Tomorrow's the primary for the state district administrator position. There are 3 candidates, and I believe it'll be narrowed to 2 for those that vote. And now for the convention. I could not have been more disappointed in this convention. I felt like you would have to be, I mean, who doesn't have an audit? That's just basic.
I would agree.
So anyway, so I went Wednesday and I went to the following sessions, from absenteeism to engagement, proven strategies for increasing school attendance. I'll take a tidbit. Across the state and nation, we're having a problem with tardiness and students not coming to school on a regular basis. And then COVID played into it, and that made it even a bit more complicated. But basically, this school district is counting minutes, every minute that a student misses. Our school district is not set up for that, and we're also implementing some other things right now to address students that are not attending on time. And but anyway, that didn't help me. And then opening general session, they had Winnicott High School Concert Band perform. They were fantastic. It's great to highlight these school districts and their bands. There was the student that won the art award this year. She drew or painted books burning and flames coming out, and the student learning with books on the other side and not burning. And I thought that she did a beautiful job of relaying a message. And I always like to see all the artwork that the students have that have been accepted. And then I went to a playground exhibit because of working with Eckhart Park. And I wanted to see some playground equipment that might be possible. Planning for a referendum We already did that, and we were doing more than what was presented at that meeting. Reimagine and revitalized, it was WASB Superintendent Evaluation Frameworks. Ours is better. Portrait of a graduate, and this was the idea is what do you want your graduates to look like when they graduate so that they're successful. We do that in other ways. They really had a narrow scope, it was not good. Calling all board presidents, I went to that thinking that that might be something that was helpful. And anyone that voted for this gentleman that spoke to be a board member, he was just something else. He created another school district, and he was removed and brought back in and taken out of this presidency. And oh my goodness, that was just something else.
He was the presenter.
What?
He was the
He was the presenter. You can't make it up. So showcase your school. That was about the local report card, and which is something that we have to present our local report card. Which they have shuffled all the numbers around this year and we can't even use it. We can't even. They said that it looked like we were doing too well as state of Wisconsin with education, so they just changed it with no background whatsoever, with no data. So the report card that is on the website, we can't even explain what that means. So I went to that thinking maybe that might be helpful, but that wasn't helpful either. So I went to nurturing minds and enhancing mental well-being. And that was a business trying to sell a product. And so that was really disappointing because I thought
That's really common there.
Yes, it is really common, and it wasn't listed that way, and usually they do list if there's a business presenting. So something else they did this year. So it used to be all of the handouts and all of the presentations, that was all accessible. And now they didn't do that this year. So if you couldn't presentations, you couldn't get the handbook or the information, the resources. And I've never seen that. I thought if you're paying to go to this, every single presentation should have their presentation available to us. And it is not. The DPI study released January 22-25, a survey about students' health. And I looked at that, and it's the number of students that have felt unsafe or felt not accepted or didn't have a mentor. And so I did look at that, and we as a district, through one of our workshops, we are really trying to survey our students and make sure that they feel safe, and it's anonymous. And then if we're seeing that students are trying to address those problems, those we want to make sure everyone does feel safe in our district. Connecting to youths at risk, we have a program to try to do that. So anyway, that's really all I have. And I think that they need to have different programs for boards and board members for longer periods of time. And then Dana was sick and ended up not being able to go. So we didn't do the resolutions because they were
Sorry.
pretty.
I was running a 103 fever.
That's okay. We don't want you there, but the resolution stuff was, it was pretty benign.
Four kids sick that weekend before, and then Tuesday evening, I was done.
Well, Marina had the flu also.
Yeah.
So it's going. Okay, so with that,
Motion to adjourn.
perfect. Second,
Second.
all in favor? We're adjourned.
And wonderful that we have a nice crowd here tonight.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
So nice.